Yeah,
for the children, for our future.
That's right.
Have to be Republican.
My man.
Yeah, I was a Democrat supporter like more than 2 decades, but definitely Democrat is not the same party as before.
Yeah.
So they just use the same name, but doing different things. They just try to destroy America. That's not good.
No, we got to get it back.
Yeah.
Got to get America back.
Yes.
She voted Carrie Lake?
Of course, Republican.
I'm with my friend Argentina, and we just met Argentina, and we had a candid conversation because you voted for Joe Biden, but you feel a little differently now. Why?
Because of what's going on now. I've always voted Democrat, and as soon as he took office, I knew exactly. I opened up my eyes, and it's just, leaving people behind in Iraq, Americans, the border, the crime, soft on crime, education is just unbelievable.
Enough is enough for you.
Enough is enough. I went this morning and I voted all Republican.
All right, guys. So election days are always weird days for me because I honestly don't know if I should make regular videos or live stream, because by the time I get this video out here, it could be irrelevant. And I also don't know what to talk to you guys about for hours on end. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. Maybe I will hop on a live stream later tonight. Who knows? No promises, but maybe. We'll see. But I don't think that this video will actually be irrelevant by the time I get it out, because we have some early exit polling data that suggests that Democrats and their strategy was just terrible, okay? And there are reports that voter turnout, at least for Republicans, is absolutely amazing early on. So everything looks good as of right now, as of the making of this video, besides the funny business going on in Arizona, in Maricopa County, allegedly. And we'll see what will happen with that. But until then, we do have a couple races that have been called. Rand Paul has won re-election. And Tim Scott has won re-election as well, too. Ron DeSantis is also doing very well as well, too. In Florida, it looks like he's going to cruise to re-election as governor. I mean, the important thing here is, if you look at it, with Miami-Dade County, 85% of the vote in, it is going Republican, +9 to DeSantis, which is absolutely insane considering the voting history of that county. Again, it does tell you that momentum is really swinging in the direction of conservatives and the GOP, specifically in regards to the Hispanic vote. Okay, so yeah, I mean, they just called it for DeSantis, right? They've already called the race for DeSantis. Literally, as I'm recording this, yeah, it's over, right? So DeSantis picks up the dub. It looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene is well on her way to winning as well, too, in her district. However, that race hasn't been called yet, but I think it probably will be, probably before this video even comes out. So yeah, some early good news. And with that being said, I actually want to go ahead and play a clip of CNN and some early exit polling showing that the Democrat strategy of focusing on my democracy and abortion just epically failed. Take a look.
We asked folks in the exit poll, and again, this is preliminary information. We'll get more as the night goes on. What was the most important issue to your vote? Inflation for 32% of the electorate. This is a national look at those showing up to vote today. Interestingly, abortion, 27% of the electorate said it was the most important issue to their vote. That's sort of a closer second than we've seen in a lot of pre-election polling. Crime at 12%, gun policy at the same place, 12%, and immigration down to 10%. But let's dig into that issue number one, inflation. We asked folks, what is the condition of the nation's economy? What you see here is that 3/4 of the electorate, 36% say not so good, poor 39%. Add that together, 75% of the electorate today says thumbs down on the state of the nation's economy. We also asked, has inflation caused harm to your family or hardship to your family? 20% of voters today across the country tell us severe hardship. Another 58% tell us moderate hardship. So that's combined together, nearly 8 in 10 voters are experiencing some kind of hardship. 22% say no hardship. And we asked, How does your financial situation compare to what it was 2 years ago? Sort of the classic political question. 46% of voters in this election across the country are telling us their financial situation is worse than 2 years ago. 35% say about the same. Only 18% say better. And gas prices specifically, as you guys know, the Biden White House has been focused on gas prices every day. Yes, 61% of voters in this election across the country tell us gas prices has been a financial hardship for them. 38% say no, Jake.
All right, David Chalian, thanks so much. And Dana Bash, I mean, again, 75% of the country says the condition of the nation's economy is not so good or poor. 78% of those in the exit poll say the inflation has caused their family severe or moderate hardship. Again, brutal numbers.
Brutal numbers. The first poll that David showed us, which obviously does have inflation at the top, we all know that it's not a surprise.
The numbers in these exits do not line up with what we were seeing in the polling data going into this election about what people cared about and the order in which they ranked it. So we have had a lot of questions throughout this time about new voters, people that hadn't been in there before that were perhaps not getting captured by the polling. So maybe this is a sign that we're going to see a little bit more of that tonight than we expected. We obviously don't know yet.
And you know what's missing from this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 5 issues? Democracy.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even in here. It's not to say that it's not an issue for people, but it doesn't even come close.
Well, not the issue.
It's not an issue at all. Okay, nobody cares about democracy. Okay, again, what's funny to me is that you have these mainstream liberal media analysts playing revisionist history. Okay, looking at these exit polls and being shocked, surprised that their propaganda didn't work. I mean, listen to Van Jones come out here and talk about how the Democrats' strategy of focusing on democracy was fool's gold.
Big picture, Van, because economic issues certainly at the top of voters' minds. It seems virtually across the board. In a cycle when that is the case, did the Democrats get their message wrong by focusing, for instance, on threats to democracy as opposed to economics as the top issue?
Well, listen, a lot of the actual campaigns on the ground were focusing on the economy, but you're correct. I think there was this kind of fool's gold, this idea that the threat to democracy is so severe in the wake of this insurrection, in the wake of these election deniers possibly grabbing control of the government, that was something that you had to talk about. But you also had to talk about the economy. I think the tragedy here is that the Democrats have something to say on the economy in terms of what Biden has done when it comes to 10 million jobs, what Biden has done when it comes to prescription drug prices, standing up to China on the CHIPS Act, and also the fear of what Republicans will do. If you think it's bad now, I think Democrats should have been saying, wait until Republicans shut down the government to knock out Social Security and Medicare. Wait until prescription drug prices go up. But we didn't focus enough buyer power on that issue, and I think it's going to potentially cost us.
Yeah, so what you're going to see here after this election is over, right, and we get the result that we all expect, which is a red tsunami, hopefully praying for a red tsunami, not just a red wave, but a red tsunami. Again, all these mainstream liberal media analysts are going to play, hey, well, the Democrats were wrong on their strategy of focusing on democracy. And it's like, well, no, you were wrong as well, too, because you went along with promoting the Democrats' propaganda, pretending like people cared about this stuff, even though it was very clear that they didn't care about it, considering your viewership, right? These mainstream liberal media outlets purged their viewership to push Democrat Party propaganda about the so-called attack on democracy. And the reality is that people never actually cared about it. These people who went to school to get these fancy degrees, right? They're just realizing something that people like me, right, and other smart people who didn't go to school to get these fancy journalism degrees realized over a year ago, that people don't care about the so-called attack on democracy. Attacking Trump 24/7 was not a winning message. It was never going to be a winning message. The guy is not in the White House, right? But that's what Democrats focus on. They focus on January 6th. They focus on the January 6th committee, which, I mean, they're basically done with that now, right? Because it didn't work. It didn't work. Nobody cared. All the signs was there that nobody cared, and they still pushed it. So now they want to come back after the fact and act like they're experts on this stuff. Like, oh, well, Democrats should have known that this wasn't going to work. Well, you guys, again, are complicit with the Democrats in pushing this crazy propaganda about the so-called attack on democracy, okay? So with that being said, we also have people in the mainstream liberal media also already claiming that the election in Georgia is going to be illegitimate, right? Because of voter suppression, even though there is historic voter turnout. Take a look.
In the state of Georgia, thanks to Brian Kemp and Raffensperger, they changed the state law so that you cannot get a provisional ballot in Georgia before 5 o'clock. So if you waited in line for 2.5 hours, got there, and they said, oh, there's some sort of mistake, you can't get a provisional ballot here. The level of voter suppression is beyond anything that we saw in 2018. So I think it's completely up in the air. There has been youth turnout at levels we haven't expected. Democrats feel confident. Republicans I've spoken to feel confident. But we can't say that whatever happens tonight is a fair and equitable election because there have been too many laws passed by election deniers to keep people from being able to express themselves.
Yeah. So again, what we have here is Democrats essentially coming out and saying that it wasn't fair, it wasn't equitable because of so-called voter suppression, which is going to be the excuse that they use if/when Stacey Abrams loses, okay, or, you know, Raphael Warnock loses and so on and so forth, okay? It's just amazing how this stuff works and the things they're saying already. But again, the main point of this video is that after this election, the mainstream media, they're going to come back and play Monday morning quarterback and try to act like that they're so shocked that people didn't care about things like the so-called attack on democracy and abortion when people like me were telling you from the get-go, before we had all this polling data, that nobody cares about the attack on democracy and nobody is going to come out here and vote on abortion as a single issue. Okay, it's just simply not as important as the economy. It's always been about the economy, stupid, right? And the exit polls are showing that already, and I don't think that that's going to change. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll see you guys again tonight, but if not, definitely tomorrow morning for sure for a recap. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.